Hey everyone, this is Christina. This is my response or post for this week with The Stranger by Camus. I believe that's how you say his name. Um, and that book really frustrated me because of the way it ended. I was like, wait, I don't find out what happens? I hate books like that. I hate them. They end with a moment where you go, wait, what happens next? Come on, tell me. So, now that that's off of my chest, I can talk about what I got from the text. Despite being frustrated by the ending and the process, I find that the main character, Marisot, who we see from his perspective, is not absurd as everyone thinks he is. He is a profound individual who has gone beyond what everyone else thinks. He sees life in such a defined manner. He sees both life and death. His mother passes away, but he doesn't feel remorse because he feels like, well, this is where I am. You know, I don't know. I think he's more of the shock. This has happened. I knew it was going to eventually. And for some reason, he feels distant because he's just got so much going through him. When you lose your mother, and I know from personal experience because 3 years ago I lost my own, it is a pivotal moment of change. You go through so much when you find out. And you're like, and especially since he did not witness her death. I think that's an important point to make. I witnessed the death of my mother, and it hit me hard. He didn't even want to look at her, because maybe for him that would make it more real. And he did not want a part of that. So as an individual, he wanted to move on. He wanted to continue his life. And when someone passes on, that is something that you sometimes have to do. I had to do that as a personal level. I had to do that when my mom passed away. I had to go back to school and finish my semester and then continue my college. I was taking my bachelor's at the time. And so that's how I relate to it on a personal level. Now, how else is he profound? He is profound because when he realizes he goes through the court system, he's like, I'm not even a part of this. What's going on here? Why don't I get a say? So it really gives you a light as to what it's like when you're on trial. This is happening in a French court, unlike the American courts. This is very different. Because here we are at such an advantage. Our laws, our court system is so boom, boom, boom. You can say your story. But in this sense, the main character, you hear all these different things about how distant he was when his mom died. What does that have to do with the murder? I have absolutely no idea. So, I mean, it's almost ridiculous. He even says, this is absurd. But does that mean the book itself is absurd? No. When you go through a moment like that in life, it is a profound moment where you're like, this is ridiculous. I've gone through that personally. A lot of us have gone through that where we're going, are you kidding me? So, while this book really aggravated me, I found it also very profound in the emotions it had, profound in everything that happened with a purpose. This individual, while he seemed distant, and while he seemed like he had no emotion, actually did, but he kept it within. He kept it within so long that at the end of the book, boom, he explodes out in passion. Spoiler alert, by the way. And then we see it. We're like, that's where it is. There's the person that we knew was there. We knew you were there. You just had to come out. And sometimes that's all it takes. It takes one single moment and you just explode in emotions. I've had that happen to me before. You can't keep it in. It's not healthy. So maybe this had an effect on the main character. A profound effect to where now he faces execution, and you don't know if his appeal will go through. You don't know if he really will meet execution. What will happen? I don't know. And I hate that I don't know. But regardless, I think this was more of profound. There's nothing absurd about this. Maybe it's a bit essential where he's beyond everything, but quite honestly, you can be beyond everything. You can be like that as an individual where you look outside and say, oh, I'm gonna die eventually. Why should I dwell on it? I will accept my fate regardless of what happens. You know? So that's my whole thing about Camus' The Stranger. It seems, at first when I started reading it, I was like, this is kind of an interesting read, and then it frustrated me. So I found it not even close to being impossible. This can happen. But at the same time, you see how the emotions just come out and how this brings out the passions within you. I mean, you can see my own passions coming out because the book frustrated me at the very end of it. I'm sorry, I keep repeating that. And that is my take on The Stranger by Camus.